Strategic Business Decision by Kareem A. Busbee. The strategic business decision, a nurse practitioner and durable medical equipment DME technician wants to start a business that supplies hospice patients with medical equipment. Questions to ask to find all that is needed for the decision. Are there any special licenses required? Should we hire a respiratory therapist to dispense oxygen? What type of equipment is required? Where should we buy the equipment? Do we need to pass an accreditation process? If so, through which accrediting bodies? How often? Is there a demand for a hospice medical equipment company in South Carolina and surrounding states? How will we get paid? Insurance? Contracts? Medicare? One question we can work with. Is there a demand for a hospice medical equipment company in South Carolina and surrounding states? What is data? Raw numbers or unorganized facts prior to being processed is known as data. Data should not be confused with information which is processed, organized, and structured data. When determining whether to make a strategic business decision, it is critical to understand which data types are most effective. Data types include big data, timestamp data, machine data, spatio-temporal data, open data, dark data, real-time data, genomics data, operational data, high-dimensional data, and many more. Which type of data is required? Of all the data types that exist, the open data type is the most appropriate data type to employ to answer the question regarding the need for a hospice medical equipment organization in South Carolina and surrounding states. Open data is available and may be used freely by anyone. Open data has no restrictions from patents, copyrights, or any other mechanism of control. Anyone who chooses to exploit open data may do so, but the data should be shared in a standardized format with the ability to trace it back to where it originated. Where can the appropriate open data be found? I theorize that the data needed to make a strategic decision regarding South Carolina's need for a hospice medical equipment company can be found from a government open data site. One of the first open data sites that I would choose to explore is data.gov. Data.gov was launched in 2009 by Vivek Kundra, the Federal Chief Information Officer of the United States. Data.gov is hosted and managed by the United States General Services Administration Technology Transformation Service. Data.gov is developed publicly on GitHub and powered by WordPress and CCAN, which are both open source applications. Data.gov utilizes a set of required fields such as title, description, tags, last update, publisher, and contact name, which is known as Project Open Data Schema. Data.gov also follows the terms of the 2013 Federal Open Data Policy. Newly generated government data must be made openly available and in machine-readable formats. Data.gov strives to ensure privacy and security. The importance of data visualizations. While the source and legitimacy of data is incredibly important, it is also critical to display data in a format that is digestible for the end user. Regardless of how informative a data set may be, if it is not presented in a user-friendly manner, it will not be effective. Data visualizations are critical to draw the attention of the end user and to even help clarify information. The ways in which data can be displayed are endless. Data structure. Data can be either unstructured, semi-structured, or structured. Unstructured data has no predefined organization, has no predefined data model, is not a good fit for a mainstream relational database, is prevalent in IT systems, is often utilized in various analytics applications and business intelligence. Semi-structured. Like unstructured data, semi-structured data does not reside in a relational database either. Unlike unstructured data, semi-structured data is a bit easier to analyze because it does have some organizational properties. The purpose of semi-structured data is to ease space. Structured data. Usually within a database, structured data is organized into a formatted repository. An effective analysis can be performed with structured data due to its elements being addressable. Structured data can easily be mapped into pre-designed fields. It can be stored in a database SQL in a table with columns and rows. Is the simplest way to manage information. Ways data can be displayed for the end user. Line charts. The line chart is one of the oldest and most utilized ways of visualizing data. Line charts are an incredibly versatile format for displaying data and can be used for nearly every type of organization. Line charts are employed to compare data for multiple categories or groups for a defined period of time and to view trends. Line charts can be utilized for long and short periods of time and are more effective in displaying smaller changes than bar graphs. Column chart. We can utilize a column chart to display the data found on the Open Data website, data.gov. Akin to the line chart, the column chart is best utilized for comparing data over time and comparing items. Multiple values can be included on a column chart on the X and Y axis, and categories can be broken down on the Y axis. A line chart and column chart can be combined to highlight trends and peaks. Box chart. The box chart is visually similar to the column chart except for the fact that it runs horizontally while column charts run vertically. The bar chart allows for items or categories to be displayed along the y-axis and each value along the x-axis. Values can be further broken down into subcategories or groups. A pivot table. If we want to achieve a simplistic way of displaying our data to the end user, a pivot table is one of the most basic ways to visualize data. The pivot table allows for large amounts of data to be quickly summarized and analyzed. Color formatting should be utilized in a pivot table to enhance the visual aspect. Scatter chart and scatter map. When displaying data regarding the relationship and distribution of two variables, the scatter chart is a great option. Numerical data would be represented by the circle size, and the circle's color represents the categories being compared. Similarly, the circles can be superimposed over a map to visualize geographical data across a region as data points on a map. The circle's color and size represents the value of data for up to 2 sets of numerical data. Big data. In recent years, the term big data has become more prevalent in our lexicon, and that is for good reason. Big data is commonly defined as the amount of data that will not practically fit into a standard relational database for analysis and processing caused by the huge volumes of information being created by human and machine-generated processes. Regardless of definition, big data most often consists of extremely large, diverse data sets that incorporates unstructured, structured, and semi-structured data. The data may come from various sources and volumes. Big data can be anything from a couple terabytes to as much as a few zettabytes. Traditional relational databases are not equipped to capture, manage, and process big data sets with low latency. Big data is often associated with machine learning, which is the foundation of artificial intelligence. How's data analysis helpful? This data analysis is helpful with the overall strategic business decision because it gives the nurse practitioner and DME technician enough insight to make a sound decision. With this data analysis, the nurse practitioner and DME technician can forecast customer patient behaviors and trends. The data analysis allows the nurse practitioner and DME technician to adequately analyze, interpret, and deliver data to the end user in a manner that is meaningful. If the data analysis is used appropriately, the nurse practitioner and DME technician will be able to increase their business's productivity and efficiency. The data analysis gives the analyzer an in-depth understanding of the business's objectives and direction, whether it's good or bad. Ultimately, the data analysis can and should be utilized to guide the nurse practitioner and the DME technician to be effective decision makers.